Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Chet Buchanan from 98.5 KLUC in Las Vegas. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but I just want to prove that I, too, am not an idiot. Because just like you, I'm listening to the Friday Sports Riot on SportstownChicago.com. Believe that.
What's up? This is the Friday Sports Riot on SportstownChicago.com. And on the phone line, he is the host of the Gravy and Raechel in the Morning Show up in Grand Rapids on High 105.3 FM. Our White Sox analyst, Gravy, is on the phone line. What's up, Gravy?
I am waiting for the trade deadline to see what we get rid of.
What do you think is going to go down in this trade deadline? How do you see this happening?
I would say Beckham is definitely gone because we have so much depth in the minor leagues for second base. So I would say he's gone, and I would advise to get rid of Alexi Ramirez while he's still worth something. He started out the season great. He's made the All-Star team. He's a good shortstop. But I think this would be a good time to get something for him. And I would say that I wouldn't see why they wouldn't get rid of Adam Dunn at the trade deadline. A left-handed bat is hard for a lot of teams to come by. And he hits a lot of home runs, however, he does strike out a lot.
Yeah.
But I would see them getting rid of him since it's the end of his contract. I would see them dropping him by the deadline as well.
Now, Gravy, if Beckham, Dunn, and Alexi Ramirez were to leave the White Sox, how would you describe the era having these players play in the south side of Chicago?
I think everybody would be happy to see Adam Dunn leave. But I think Alexi Ramirez, I think a lot of people like him, and I'm sure there's people that disagree with me. But, I mean, you got to get what you can get for certain players. And he's obviously was really good at the start of the year, and he's still a good player, and he's still hitting well, but he's not hitting what he was hitting. But, we need to get a catcher of the future. Obviously, Tyler Flowers started out great, but not so great anymore. So I would see us trying to go get the catcher of the future. But, we signed our first-round draft pick, which is a great pitcher, who we could see possibly even maybe by the end of the year or the beginning of next year in the majors. So you put him with Sale and Katana, and, you may see Danks get picked up. There's a lot of talk about, Danks getting picked up by the trade deadline as well.
So you think that the White Sox are definitely going to be sellers come the trade deadline?
If it keeps going the way it is, if you look at the last couple games, the Tigers have played their scoring touchdowns instead of points now. Obviously playing Kansas City, but Kansas City has had a pretty good year. But I just think that you have to look for the future. They gave it a run. Obviously, I would wait till closer to the deadline's over, see if they can turn it around. But yeah, I would see them being sellers unless they really come up and do something. And a lot of that is the fault of Robin Ventura. In that game against Boston, the third game of the series, when he yanked out Chris Sale, we're winning 4-0 in the eighth inning with 2 outs, I believe, and they just shouldn't have yanked him. He's at 107 pitches. Nobody could touch him. After that batter that he would have faced, then Ortiz would have been up another left-handed bat, even more of a reason to have kept him in. And then a lot of people, besides that mistake right there, we go into the ninth, it was 4-3. Another mistake Robin Ventura made was there was 1 out, a man on second, first base open. Why wouldn't you walk the next batter to put up the double play to be able to get out of the inning so they couldn't win the game because it was actually tied 4-4 at that point.
Right. Yeah.
It's just bad managing. It's just I like Robin Ventura. Mm-hmm. He was a great third baseman, but that is 2 horrible calls within an inning of each other. I was pretty angry.
Connor Gillespie has had a really good year so far. He's batting over 320, and he's hit home runs in 3 straight games. Do you think that he's a guy that could be here for a while, or do you think maybe if they keep losing that could possibly be on the trade market as well?
I don't think I would dump him for the simple reason is you obviously are not paying him a lot of money right now.
Right.
And he's hitting well, and, we need a third baseman, and he's starting to show the glove there at third base along with the hitting. He's been a consistent hitter this year. He's really hit very well, and now he's starting to get into his power stroke. So I don't think I would get rid of him.
Gravy, what is it about Connor Gillespie that makes him such a special player for the White Sox?
I think he said last year his problem was that he. Sorry, I'm still at work. That he what he was doing was he was just kind of like taking the bats too hard on himself.
Yeah.
And then he just, I just feel like he's more focused now. He's not going after the bad pitches. He's getting his pitch and hitting his pitch. So I think that's the difference. He's being a little bit more patient this year.
And now going back to the White Sox pitching, what is your take on it as of late?
The starting pitching has been great. I think this last 7 games, I think I heard Chris Ranji say after the broadcast, is the best 7-game stretch the starters have had this year.
Right.
But I don't think it's the starting's a problem. It's like we have a horrible bullpen. And that's another thing. If you go back to that game, like we were winning 4-0, and I understand as a manager you have to say that you have faith in your players, but at this point with what you've seen by your bullpen this year, it's okay to say, you know what, I would rather have Sale finish this game off or at least get us to the 9th before going to the bullpen. Because it's just not a good bullpen.
Right.
And that's what, and I had a feeling that was going to happen because going into the year, a lot of the bullpen help was signed for 1 year, a lot of 1-year deals, because I don't think they expected to really. I think they were trying to go for it this year, but they were also building, so it wasn't a big deal to them to get the bullpen, and the bullpen has been costly to the team.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because you might as well just have your starters if they don't have a high pitch count. You might as well just have them go as long as they can to try to get the win. And moving on now to A.J. Pierzynski, as he was dropped by the Boston Red Sox just a few days ago. Do you think there's any chance, if the White Sox were looking to compete, that they would bring back A.J. Pierzynski?
Maybe a farewell tour. I mean, why would you want to?
Yeah, right.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of respect, obviously. He's a 2005 guy, and his big, run to first, and people thought he was out, but he wasn't. I mean, everybody's going to remember that forever. But if you're going to rebuild the team, why sign an old catcher?
Yeah.
They should have went and got George Gutierrez, who the Indians just put on waivers, and the Cardinals just picked him up.
Right.
They should have went and picked him up. Is what they. I understand if they want to rebuild the team, and now is a great time if they want to rebuild the team because really like 10.5 games back. We should be, if it wasn't for the last couple of games, we should be maybe 7.5 games back.
Yeah.
Because those were 2 big losses with the Tigers also winning. So, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see the Sox go to the playoffs. I'm a huge rah-rah Sox fan, but you got to look at the reality of the situation and what you can get for your players when you can get it. So I think this is a great time to do that.
Now, Gravy, I'm a Cubs fan, but I like watching White Sox baseball like I was watching them when they won the World Series in 2005. But for some reason, I never could really connect with A.J. Pierzynski as like a baseball fan. What did you think of him overall? I think it's just because he's such an unlikable guy at times. I just never really liked him. Like, what do you think?
I think he's unlikable if he's not on your team.
Yeah.
If he's on your team, he's very smart. I remember one game he was running between second and third, and he was clearly caught up. He purposely leaned into the third baseman, and the umpire called interference, and he got the base. So, he's a smart player. He knows the rules, and that's what really gets under people's skin.
Yeah.
Obviously, people didn't, there's a lot of stories that the players in Boston did not get along with him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you just brought him back, that would just be, kind of an homage kind of thing. I don't really think it's worth bringing him back.
And now you just said that when AJ is on your team, you like him, but once he leaves, you don't. But what do you think of the reports that many Red Sox players told the media up there that he was a cancer in the locker room? Like, what is it about him that just rubs people the wrong way?
I mean, he seems like a guy that probably just says what he thinks. And, he was with the White Sox for a very long time. So, I mean, it was okay to be like that. But you can't walk into somewhere like Boston, which is a lot of players who, there's quite a few players that have played together for years. and probably, say what he was probably saying is what I would guess.
Yeah.
Because the White Sox players, I never heard anybody say anything bad about him when he left.
Yeah. And now,
so, that could be it, but that's just speculation, obviously.
And now, before we let you go, Gravy, what is coming up next week on your morning show up in Grand Rapids?
Let's see, next week. I'm still on this week because I'm still at work. Next week we have our Hot FM Party in the Park concert coming up July 23rd.
Nice.
At the minor league ballpark here, so we'll be giving away tickets for that. We also have our second chance date, where we get people who's been on a date with somebody. They never hear from that person again, and we call them on the air to get them a second date. And you can hear all those at 1053hotfm.com. So, and a lot of topics, a lot of acting stupid, and hopefully still getting paid for it.
Sounds good, Gravy. Well, have a good weekend, my man, and we look forward to talking to you again on the Friday Sports Riot here on SportsTownChicago.com.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Gravy. And that was Gravy, who is the host of the top-rated morning show up in Grand Rapids, Gravy and Raechel in the morning on Hot 105.3 FM. And if you're listening in Chicago, since this is SportsTownChicago.com, and you want to listen to Gravy, go to your fancy app shop on your smartphone and download the Hot 105.3 FM app, or go to hot105.3.com, and all the podcasts from their second chance date and all their segments are up there. We will be right back on the Friday Sports Riot here on SportsTownChicago.com after this. Hang on.
The Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com.